I just learned actually from one of your bandmates, you performed in Charlottesville before at the T-Bazaar once upon a time, just a couple doors down.
Yeah, we did. That must have been 2005. Maybe even earlier than that. Maybe 2004. Did he remember? Did Daniel remember?
No, he didn't say year, no.
Oh, yeah. It was a while ago, though.
So this was well before the first album came out.
Yeah, this was at least a couple years before the first album came out.
Oh, great.
Mm-hmm.
So, even before that, you worked with, of course, Tim DeLauder with Polyphonic Spree and Sufjan Stevens. What did you learn from those artists that have really helped you out in your own solo endeavors?
Let's see here. Polyphonic Spree really got me into playing with guitar effects, because before that I was pretty much like a jazz kind of fingerstyle player. And then Sufjan just has such a meticulous ear that it was nice to be around such a meticulous person.
Your whole sound just kind of amazes me, because you've just pushed sonic boundaries with your orchestration. Do you hear all the instruments as you start to compose your music?
No, I mean, oftentimes I'm just kind of going for something I have an impression in my head, or even a picture in my head of how I want it to feel. And then, a lot of it is just like, it's just kind of showing up for work with your briefcase and your, shoulder padded suits and your comfort trainers to get from the bank to the, to Schlotzsky's for lunch. I mean, a lot of it is just like, showing up and putting in the hours in terms of like orchestration and arrangement. But it's all sort of going after, trying to go after pictures in my head and impressions or like a feeling.
So as you start to form these pictures, I mean, do you just, first you put pen to paper, start to write down the lyrics, and then you just build as you go?
No. No, it typically... Typically, the writing process for this Actor record, at least, was very much of one of watching a lot of Disney films and trying to rescore some of my favorite scenes from those films. But a lot of it was just written literally in GarageBand, moving things around, and you can just sort of click in notes, and a lot of it was that. And then the lyrics on the Actor record, at least, were the very last thing to get put on.
So using like tools like GarageBand and such, is that how you find that you can really elaborate more and just expand things beyond just yourself as you're able to perform?
Yeah, I mean, I like to think that if you work in GarageBand, or if you work, if you sort of write on the computer and you're not limited to what the sort of patterns and shapes that your hands like to make, or the sort of melodies that your voice like naturally likes to do, you're kind of your tool is your imagination and your ear, and you're able to make music that in some instances is kind of smarter than you are. And that's what I was trying to do on this record.
There's so many elements to your style that just impress me and kind of blow me away. You represent a really neat dichotomy where you have this voice that's like Beth Givens, it's ethereal from Portishead.
Oh, I like her.
And then you rock on the guitar like Jack White and do all this kind of innovation stuff. How do you balance these kind of extreme sides of music?
It's all very natural. I mean, I don't have a whiskey yelpy rock and roll voice, so I use what I have. And in terms of guitar, I've been playing guitar for a long time, and I like it. I like guitar that's kind of nasty and kind of brutal sounding. So it's not so much planned. It's just I have these two things that I like very much, and so why not put them together? They're not mutually exclusive.
It's wild. It's like, when you go to a restaurant and you order a meal that you think, man, there's no way these two flavors are going to go well together. And then you come out on stage and you just produce this, great meal for us to enjoy, just devour.
Delicious.
We're blown away.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like this metaphor.
Well, recently, of course, you guys were on Austin City Limits, and How was the experience? Did it meet up to your expectations?
Austin City Limits was wild. That was the very last day of about a 5-week tour. And, I being from Texas especially, you grow up watching that on PBS. And when we got asked to do it, I was really blown away because it's such a iconic show. And when I think of Austin City Limits, I think of like, oh yeah, Dolly Parton or, whatever. But, there we were, and there the cameras were and everything, and the audience, and it was a great experience.
Have you seen a build an audience since that show aired?
Have I seen like more people?
Yeah.
It's hard to tell where people are kind of coming from, because I think the way that I think there's a lot of word of mouth probably, and I think there's that shows like that help, and I think we did Letterman and Jimmy Kimmel this year, and maybe those things help. And then I did a duet with Bon Iver on the Twilight soundtrack, so maybe these things help, but I don't know. I think it's all kind of cumulative. You don't really know where people kind of hear about you, but.
Well, it's, obviously there's a ton of internet buzz, and, Actor is such a phenomenal release.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, you're very welcome. And you have, all these appearances and doing these huge tours now. You're going to be on the Pitchfork Festival this summer. Does the possibility of just, big mass fame, is that frightening you at all?
It doesn't seem like it's inching into my reality at all. I mean, it's so cool to get to play, these fun festivals and do stuff like Austin City Limits. That stuff's kind of an honor, But day-to-day life is completely the same.
Yeah.
I mean, and also I kind of think, not that the music I make is necessarily so avant-garde or esoteric, but I just don't necessarily, see it being the sort of like pop mainstream, right, like number one on the.
No. And that's what's beautiful about it. You don't want it to be that, Well,
I think if I was going to go, I think a lot of times people, if you want to be kind of on the pop charts, you kind of go for that. Like
right.
You kind of have to make a concerted effort. And if the next record ends up that for some reason all I want to do is write just total pop songs, that's what I'll do. But I don't know. I have a lot of things I want to explore, so I don't necessarily see it being top of the pops. But who knows?
Well, if you ever were on top of the pops, I think it'd be great, but I just don't want you to settle as an artist, to think that, all right, I need to make a hit. So I think the songs you're doing, like we're playing Meryl, we're playing Strangers on the radio, and
thanks,
it sounds great on the air. We love it for what it is, so don't settle, please.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I can't imagine that I will sit down to write the next record and it'll be, verse, chorus,
mm-hmm.
Kind of thing, but you never know, I guess.
If you did write a pop song, what pop song have you ever heard that you wish, damn, I wish I wrote that song?
Benny and the Jets.
Ah, that's a good one.
That's a great song. Are you kidding? That's such a jam.
Well, Annie, it's really a pleasure to meet you. We're really excited about the show tonight. And, of course, check out
ilovestvincent.com
for all the info about the band. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.